What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Established Run's NBA Injury Report Analysis Show. I'm Drew Dinkmeyer here with Mike Gallagher to walk you through an 8-game slate, a back-to-back filled slate. Gonna be a lot of injury information to get through. With me, as always, Mike Gallagher. Mike, how are you on this fine?
Doing great. Grinding G League box scores to figure out if questionable players are going to be available today. This is living here. Got a hike in, so pick a better way to start the day. So feeling pretty good.
Yeah, it's always a challenge when G League box scores are necessary to do your work. So let's get into the injury stuff today. We'll also have some housekeeping notes at the end of the show about some things we're excited to talk about. But let's get into the game by game stuff today. Let's start with Utah and Detroit, a game that Mike Gallagher, really honestly, when I look at the calendar and I think of the schedule, when I see Utah Detroit, I think of you. So let's start with the Utah side. No Keontae George, no Jordan Clarkson, no Larry Markkinen, no Omer Yurtseven, without some G Leaguers as well. Johnny Juzang, one of the G Leaguers, gets a questionable tag here. No Talen Horton-Tucker. What are your notes? What's left of the Utah Jazz?
Yeah, so let's start with Johnny Juzang. He was in Orlando last night for the Salt Lake City Stars game. So, hey, maybe he had a time to, fly from Orlando to Detroit. The Indy guys who are literally playing right now probably don't. We'll get to that. So he could be available. We're going to take his minutes out for now and keep an eye on it. This is obviously super important. I'm seriously kidding. But, this rotation could get pretty tight. We're going to see Chris Dunn almost certainly move back into the starting lineup and play a lot of point and probably play a lot of minutes. They could be pretty thin here, taking THT out. They've been playing Colin Sexton off the ball on a back-to-back. So I could see Chris Dunn playing a pretty good amount of minutes. Obviously, Simone Fontecchio, he'll continue to start. He started over John Collins yesterday. And then John Collins presumably moves into the starting lineup here. And then they have Kelly Olynyk and Walker Kessler handle the center minutes. Certainly see some Luka Samanic minutes as well. But and then obviously Ochai Agbaji would be kind of the core rotation, and we'll see if first class Johnny Juzang got a flight here. But there could be pretty good condensed rotation minutes. Obviously Detroit is terrible defensively, especially on the ball. So Dunn, I don't know what his DFS price is yet, but he's going to be someone we're going to be talking about, especially with really weak rim defense on the other end. He doesn't have much of a jumper, but he can dribble drive quite a bit.
How many available players are we down to on?
I haven't thought about that yet here.
So it would be Fontecchio, Kessler, Sexton, Olynyk, Collins, Dunn, Agbaji, Samanic, Hendricks, and maybe Juzang, right? So maybe 10.
Yep.
Okay, so we're at 9, maybe 10 available tonight. That's gonna lead to some DFS value for sure against Detroit. Yep. So we will be talking about that for sure later. Detroit side of things, full injury report as well. No Jalen Duren, no Monty Morris. They do have Isaiah Stewart listed available, and Killian Hayes is listed questionable with that dreaded illness tag. So what are your notes on the Pistons tonight?
Yeah, we saw Killian miss the last game, kind of all over the place with this Q tag now, so he could certainly miss another one. When we've seen players miss multiple games of illness, Donovan Mitchell's one. John Collins missed 10 days, so never know, but definitely could see him missing. That would mean Jay Ivey gets the start. And then the biggest question is, does Isaiah Stewart start at the 4 or the 5? Based on how they've been wanting to play Wiseman pretty good minutes, they probably got to play him at the 4, right? Especially if Killian doesn't play. So I think they might do that. That would probably push Asar Thompson out of the mix to make it a Cade, whoever the guard is, Boyan, Stewart, and then Bagley, I would assume, gets the start there. Certainly Wiseman be in the rotation. We'll see if Livers gets bumped out as basically Asar Thompson moves into his spot. So it could kind of tighten up here. It just depends if Monty Williams wants to play him at the 4 or the 5. But based on how they want to play Wiseman, I would kind of lean they would prioritize playing Wiseman over the Livers, Sassers, and Burks types.
This matchup too probably facilitates playing a little bit bigger, just naturally, most likely as well. So I would expect that as well. And then if Hayes is unable to go, Ivy probably starts, and we might see the Alec Burks minutes again back into the second unit in the rotation. If not, Burks and Sasser certainly more vulnerable to downside from a minutes perspective, as we've seen. The bench is just very, very in flux with Detroit.
Okay. I should mention Detroit is favored right now, despite a 24-game losing streak. So, this is their Super Bowl here. They got a big home game You got to get this one.
You would hope. New Orleans and Cleveland. On the New Orleans side of things, questionable tags galore, all related to non-COVID illness. Not all. Cody Zeller has upgraded his questionable tag from face to ankle sprain, so that's a change. The illnesses are Herb Jones, Jonas Valanciunas, and Zion Williamson. You can talk through the illnesses while I try to get my voice back.
All right. Head, shoulders, knees, and toes for Cody Zeller, but so Zion was sick first, right? We saw him get the Q tag last game, played kind of bad. And then Herb and JV are new. So, I guess Zion would be the most likely to play since he maybe already got through the illness. I don't know. So I think Zion's going to play. If Herb misses, I think they would probably elevate Dyson Daniels for on-ball defense. They might start Trey, but I think they want to have the on-ball defense there. That's kind of how my read would be. They seem to kind of like starting Dyson when they can. Overall, if Valanciunas sits, they would probably bring Cody Zeller in there if he can go. We've seen Zeller come in when JV had fouls. They seem to like him. They probably want to start big against Jared Allen, so I would assume him to go. If they both don't go, they might just. If everyone can't go, then yeah. Well, and if Zion can't go, I think Trey Murphy would start for him. I think this is kind of making sense here, but I guess they would go to.
So it sounds like what you're saying is just generally, if they're missing one person from the starting lineup, and especially if it's Herb from a defensive perspective, you think Dyson Daniels is the person who replaces Herb because the on-ball defense component. If it's anyone other than Herb, it's probably Trey Murphy. Valanciunas, it could be Zeller. But it could also be Zion. They could start with Zion at center too, as well. So those are kind of the two. Those are
with only really one big. They could bring in Jeremiah Robinson Earl, but
yeah. If it is Valanciunas, Zion, and Herb Jones out, then it's probably Zeller, Trey Murphy, and Dyson Daniels starting. Is what your guess is. I know Herb Jones has largely been replaced by Najee Marshall. And in this matchup without Donovan Mitchell, maybe there's less need for on-ball defense. So that's a chance that ends up happening as well. But those are the candidates here. And obviously, if they're without a lot of the usage from Jonas Valanciunas and Zion Williamson, wheels up for Brandon Ingram and CJ McCollum, who are players who can fill that usage, and then Trey Murphy as well. So there could be a lot of value here. Things could get really thin. Absolutely one of the spots to keep an eye on for this 8-game slate tonight. Yep. Okay, Cleveland side of things, all out tags. So I guess that's easier to deal with, but some pretty big out tags. Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, Evan Mobley, all listed out. We saw this last game, last night. We saw Craig Porter Jr. get the start, but he did not close, and he did not play starters level minutes, in part because Sam Merrill was exceptional from distance last night, and in part because they wanted to close with Karis LeVert having the ball in his hands quite a bit. So we saw a 9-man rotation. The big question mark seems to be, from a minutes volatility perspective, seems to be around Craig Porter Jr., Isaac Okoro, Karis LeVert, and Sam Merrill, and where those kind of minutes fall. The rest of the minutes seem like they're fairly static, like Jared Allen and Tristan Thompson going to split a full 48. Dean Wade and George Niang, their minutes are pretty solid. Like Niang's probably going to be low 20s. Dean Wade's probably going to be upper 20s, low 30s. It's really the guards that are kind of mixing and matching. So what are your thoughts on Cleveland tonight?
Yeah, we mentioned yesterday that if Karis LeVert was off the bench, pretty good indication that he could still be on minutes limit. That was the case. They ran him pretty short in the first half. I think he had 11 first half minutes before he just completely cooked in the second half. So, I would expect him to have a minutes limit again here in a back-to-back. I would keep an eye on the injury report. Guys who are usually on minutes limits don't play in back-to-back sets. But, every case is different. So just keep an eye on that. I would, definitely, would not be shocked if we see a Karis LeVert addition to the injury report there. But Sam Merrill was ridiculous, man. 8 threes, just best game of his life, really. Hit his over in like the first 3 minutes of his stint or something like that. You laid it out there. Craig Porter Jr. I think maybe has a bit of a higher minute ceiling in a back-to-back, especially if they maybe want to keep LeVert's minutes in check in a back-to-back set here. Strus played, okay. And then, I think you kind of covered everything else there.
The challenge for Craig Porter Jr. is like last night is as good of a matchup as it can possibly get in terms of his skill set against the opponent, and we were left with 25 minutes. So this is a tougher matchup for his skill set as a driving kind of score first guard who's a little bit undersized compared to Karis LeVert, and we'll have to deal with either Dyson Daniels or Herb Jones or some good on ball defender. So do you think? Do you think 25 is the floor, or do you think like there's a lower floor here for the minutes for Craig Porter Jr.? What do you think the range is on Craig Porter Jr. from a minutes perspective?
Yeah, I thought it was closer to floor to ceiling to me. I mean, if they're going to play Karras 27, and they've been pretty hard in the 27 number, so I mean, right there, that's 20 minutes minimum, and they're going to probably overlap them a little bit. So I guess the absolute floor would be like what 22 then. And I think the ceiling's, low 30s. So I think he kind of ran pretty bad yesterday. Obviously, the shot didn't go, but still had 3 blocks, seven boards, 6 dimes, all that good stuff. So yeah, I would say this is maybe from a minute standpoint, 30th percentile outcome from a minutes. So yeah, I think he's got a chance to maybe add 3-4 to him today.
Okay. On to Indy and Memphis. On the Pacers side of things, Jalen Smith questionable, Andrew Nembhard questionable with the right knee bone bruise, Miles Turner questionable with the hamstring issue, and then all the G League guys listed questionable with on assignment. This had you looking at the Mad Hats, Mad Ants. I don't know what's Mad Ants. Why not Mad Hats? What happened to the Mad Hatter? Why can't we get him a mascot? You looking at their box score. What are your notes on the Pacers tonight?
Let's start with the G League guys. They're all literally playing right now. So they're in Orlando right now. So, I mean, it's feasible they could fly him, end the game, send him straight to Orlando International Airport, fly him into Tennessee and go. But seems pretty unlikely. So that should make us assume that they're all out today. So that could be pretty tight rotation. Andrew Nembhard was ruled out for, quote, at least a week on December 10th. It's December 21st. He's been going through practice for 4 or 5 days, got some pregame work in yesterday. So pretty much all signs are he could be back here. Certainly could use the extra body, especially with Shepard playing in Orlando right now. So yeah, he could be back. That would squeeze a little bit of minutes out of TJ McConnell, Ben Mathurin, Buddy Hield, who played great yesterday. Interesting. Rick Carlisle said he's one of their better defenders. We kind of poke fun at Rick Carlisle for lying all the time. I mean, you're lying to yourself if you think Buddy Hield's one of your best defenders. But I digress. So that covers the backcourt. Front court, we saw Jalen Smith return from multiple week injury from 2 leg injuries, and he was managed. He played 8 first half minutes, and then it was planned to sit him out. Rick Carlisle said he didn't want to have him sit a stint to close the half, sit out halftime, and then sit a stint to start the third quarter. So it'd be about an hour. It wouldn't be right to put him in. So we'll see if he gets ramped up. Wouldn't be surprised if he sits. Wouldn't be surprised if he starts. He mentioned he could ramp up his minutes, but I don't think there'll be much. He'd probably have a maybe 15 cap on him if we wanted to put him in there. And then so Miles Turner.
So to be very clear on that, you think there's a chance that he could start and play like 15 minutes in the first half, not play it all in the second half?
I doubt that. It would be Isaiah Jackson starting. It would. Okay. Yeah, I feel pretty confident he wouldn't start if that was unclear. So I guess the iterations here. If Miles is in and Jalen Smith's out, I think Isaiah Jackson would start. Jalen Smith would back him up, and that would mostly cover your minutes for center. We'll see maybe some small ball stuff. Against Memphis is kind of tough. Maybe you want to do that just to space it out. So that pretty much covers it. Obviously, if they're both out, a lot of Jackson and then a lot of Obi center. That would be the everybody's out situation. And then if everyone's in, Miles Turner would start. They probably run it again. They probably run the play Jalen Smith in the first half, sit him, and then play Isaiah Jackson. At least that's how we would allocate the minutes. We'd have like a 3-way split. I think that covers the Indy side. But again, the bottom line is here, all these G League questionables aren't playing. Andrew Nembhard's got a good chance to return, and then we'll kind of see on these bigs, but there will be a minutes cap, in my opinion, on Jalen Smith.
Okay. Memphis Grizzlies, they're still without Derrick Rose, Jake LaRavia, Luke Kennard, Juju Jackson, Brandon Clark, and Steven Adams. There's some reporting that Marcus Smart may return this week. He's been upgraded to doubtful, so it doesn't sound like it's going to be tonight, but there's a chance that he's returning. The first game back from John Morant was electric, game-winning shot for Memphis. Really good moment in what's been a really down season for them. Opportunity to go 2 in a row with Ja at the helm tonight. What are your notes on the Grizzlies?
Yeah, the elite on-ball defender guys have been taking it to him here. Hero and Maxey taking care of Jay McDaniels. Herb got the business from John Morant a couple nights ago. So, yeah, those guys are kind of down bad. But, yeah, John Morant, not crazy minutes, is apparently 35 minutes. Again, played great, complete control of the offense. Him and Bane playing off each other really well. Heavily involved Jaren Jackson pick and roll game, pick and pop game. Three-headed monster offense is going to be a thing here. Again, we'll have one more start from Vince Williams for Marcus Smart. Grizzlies are pretty consistent and doubtful today. Don't play him. It means he gets the questionable tag next game, and he's going to have a pretty good chance to play. So they're getting healthy up top. That's kind of the most important thing. They still got some concerns with Derrick Rose, Luke Kennard, etc. But good to see that the high-end players on the roster are coming back. Yeah, Morant's going to play a ton. Their commentary from him and Jenkins are quite clear. He's ready to go. He's been working behind the scenes. Clear. It's obvious. The guy is going to play full minutes. I'm going to look at the minutes after this. I would go 36 straight. We don't usually put Ja that high, but I think they're going to play him a ton here. Home debut for him. So I think that means a lot to him. There was commentary from both the team and Jenkins as well. Side note, Jenkins had like the longest presser I've ever seen him have. He's usually like 2 minutes and out, but he had like a 12-minute presser. But a testament to how great that game was from them. So
get John Morant back, get a win.
Yep.
You want to sit at you want to soak that in. It's been a tough year for Taylor Jenkins. So soak in the moment and take the mic. All right, let's move to Clippers and OKC. Clippers have not yet submitted. They're on the second night of back-to-back. To my knowledge, sometimes they submit while I'm talking here, though. So any notes from the Clippers you got?
Kawhi said he's good to go today, as did Norm Powell. We saw Kawhi get a little bit dinged up. Always concerned with Kawhi and back-to-backs. Norman with an illness. Again, guy did a post-game presser. That's usually a pretty good sign. He's good to go. So we'll see about him, and then we'll see about Paul George. Didn't play yesterday with the illness. Again, this is a big theme this time of year. How ill are these players? We have no idea. I could pull up any piece of information I can, and it's just not going to tell me how sick these guys are. Speaking of someone who had COVID last week. So, that's kind of how it is. So I'm expecting everyone to play. Maybe. I don't know about Paul George, but Amir Coffey would for sure start again. He was awesome. He hit one of the biggest shots of the game. Brilliant pass from Kawhi Leonard to find him. They sent like a triple team to him. Man, Kawhi was just so good yesterday. I don't know. This is an injury show. Let's keep it short and sweet. But I think everyone's going to play. Paul George probably the most likely to sit. I think Kawhi's in. I think Norm's in. But we'll see.
All right. Thunder side of things, their injury report remains very clean. One of the things that's been behind this great Thunder season so far is they've been impeccable from a health perspective. So any notes on the Thunder tonight?
No, just Chet shot blocking has been just tremendous, man. His defense is taken to another level. They're number 2 in defensive rating right now. They've been just – I am really excited for this game. The Clippers are the hottest team in the NBA right now against the steady ship of the OKC Thunder. They've been the best team against the spread from a cover standpoint percentage. So, this is the – you talk about Utah and Detroit. I'm a little insulted by that, but I'm really excited for this Clippers.
You know where your brand is.
Oh, I know.
Your brand is. Yeah,
I'll take it where it is a badge of honor for sure.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, there we go. We got the Clippers here. Paul George questionable, Kawhi questionable, and that's it.
Oh no. That's not what you want. That's not what you want to hear. You don't want the key tags back on Kawhi.
Yeah. At least they're not the very late game anymore. They got 8 o'clock start time. So
they've been playing these guys a lot. So if they needed a break, it would be totally understandable at this point. But we'll see later.
That's hip contusion. Right. He had a little bit of a fall. That's why Kawhi.
Yeah. Look, they're gonna put. Every team is going to put a tag on it if they can. If they can put an injury tag on it, they're going to put a tag on it, even if they want to rest these guys just because of the new rules and everything. So, all right, Orlando in Milwaukee. On the Orlando side of things, Markelle Fultz still out with that left knee tendonitis. Joe Ingles questionable left ankle sprain. Jalen Suggs questionable left wrist sprain. What are your notes on the ball handlers for the Magic tonight?
Yeah, Jalen Suggs. No comments from Jamal Mosley. I would have liked the beat writers to ask a question why Suggs didn't close. Checked out middle of the third, didn't come back in. Obviously, 21 minutes is light, not a foul trouble thing. He must have got hurt. So, I don't know the details. Shout out to the Magic. They did file their injury report ridiculously early last night / this morning, and then updated it as well. So, we'll see on Suggs. If he's out, probably Gary Harris. On-ball defense would be a priority there. We'll see about Joe Ingles. They did kind of piece it together. Caleb Houston, as expected, filled in there. He would benefit as well. Jonathan Isaac didn't see more minutes. We know he was on that 16-ish cap there. And then we saw a three-way split at center. We saw Wendell Carter Jr., Goga Batadze, and Mo Wagner eat up the minutes. Wendell Carter Jr. told Mosley he wanted to play more, but the training staff kind of shot it down. So we'll see if he can get upper 20s here. But it sounds like they do want to manage him. They might have to, though, if they're going to run. They ran pretty big here, and just kind of a tough loss. Miami played really well in this game. But, we'll see on Suggs. Don't have a great read on the situation.
The minutes allocation on Wendell was also interesting because he was playing deep into the blowout last night. Let's see if I can pull up Popcorn Machine. Looks like, they do have a game. Okay, here it is. Yeah. He played the final 5 minutes of the game that was kind of non-competitive to get to 23. So it seems like there's a number they're trying to get him to, is my point of this, because there's no need to on the front end of a back-to-back. That makes me a little bit concerned on what that number would be on the second night of a back-to-back. So just something to monitor with Wendell Carter Jr. They've got bodies to get there. As we're here, shout out to Adam Lefko, part of the hashtag 28 after team, getting the Thunder minus 4.5 on the Q News there. Love to see it. All right, let's move to the Bucks side of things. The dreaded Giannis Antetokounmpo probable tag. He was questionable before. I don't know if this is actually a downgrade or an upgrade in status, because usually Giannis seems to play through questionable tags and miss probable tags. So like my mind is twisted on this one if this is actually worse for Giannis, but he's listed with illness, with right midfoot sprain on the injury illness tag for Giannis Antetokounmpo tonight. Jay Crowder's still out. No other injury news on the Bucks. What's your read on the Giannis situation?
Yeah, this is you're playing poker and someone check raises you. You're like, oh, what does this person have? So yeah, I mean, I'm gonna take them at their word. That we always talk about they were an hour early today. They upgraded him at 12:30, which was that's another thing. Like all right, what's up with the Bucks today? So maybe we get another. I don't know. So again, we're treating him kind of questionable-ish, but really most indications are he's going to play today. Been playing a ton of minutes. We'll see if they can maybe dial him back a little bit with a not a great tag. It's the way it's worded. It's a mid-foot sprain. It's not like soreness or something like that. So kind of keeping an eye on that. If he didn't start, they would. They like Bobby Portis off the bench. I think there's a pretty clear effort that they want to try to get him to 6-man. A lot of commentary from Adrian Griffin that they want to make him a really big bench impact, and he was freaking great. And he's playing really, really well. So. Yeah, I think they would probably start Andre Jackson. I think they would kind of go that route. Who's been playing pretty well too. So yeah, but again, expecting him to play.
That's a good shout on the 6-man stuff for Bobby Portis. He was on the Levitard show last year, and around the time of kind of right before the awards, like I think he was a finalist. He was named a finalist, and I think he was on the show right around then. He was promoting his podcast and stuff as well, but he cares a lot about that. He kind of said in the interview, it's really, it always goes to little guards who score a lot. Why can't it go to a big man? So I think that's a good shout. That I think he is pretty motivated by that 6-man of the year award. All right, San Antonio and Chicago. On the San Antonio side of things, Victor Wembanyama probable after missing last game with right ankle soreness. Devin Vassell listed questionable for illness. Keldon Johnson listed probable for lower back tightness. What are your notes on the Spurs?
Yeah, Wemby went through shoot around. Seems like it was a management thing for him to miss the last game. We saw Zach Collins get the start for him and hit it over. Shout out to us. But Vassell, not a great downgrade. Again, pretty popular this time of year, so we'll see. Don't disregard that probable tag on Keldon as well. I think there's a chance he could miss, but seems like he should be good to go. If Vassell misses, I think they would go to Jetty Osman here. We've seen Jetty kind of slip in and out of the starting lineup. I would expect. I think that they're kind of tied to this one center spot. Maybe they do go back to it. Maybe they do basically start Zach Collins in Vassell spot, and then Wembanyama would get his spot back. So I think those are the two candidates to start, assuming Wembanyama's in. So, but I don't know. I think they would start one center. I think that they're kind of tied to it. Zach Collins had talked about how he kind of is okay with this role, so I think they would kind of go back to their default here. So I would lean Osman, but Zach Collins could start. I think Trey Jones is kind of stuck in his role. I think Champagne's a candidate to start as well.
Yep.
Actually, I would say the rankings would be Jetty, Champagne, and then Zach Collins would be the candidates to start for Vassell for me.
I'm with you there. Let's move to the Chicago side of things. Second night of back-to-back, really impressive win again for the Bulls at home against the Lakers last night. Nothing new on the injury report here. They're still without Torrey Craig and Zach LaVine. No questionable tags for DeMar DeRozan or Vooch. Those are two veteran dudes who play through almost everything. That's why if you used any of our best ball rankings this year, we were unusually high on DeRozan and Vucevic. It's because these guys don't miss games, and it ends up adding up over the course of the season. So any notes on the Bulls rotation tonight?
Yeah, no tag for Caruso as well. He's been getting a lot of key
Yeah.
tags.
Oh, good note. Yep.
Also, yeah, that's a great sign. He played really well yesterday. Yeah, again, huge win. And I didn't have the guts to bet them, man. Like they matched up so well with the Lakers with like no rim pressure, and the Lakers are all rim. The Bulls don't care. We actually shouted out the Bulls on the podcast that's going to be out like pretty much right now. It's on YouTube for you guys, and then we'll have it on the pod feed shortly too. So, but yeah, Kobe finally lost his over streak. He didn't have it yesterday, but still playing pretty well. Patrick Williams playing really well. So yeah, pretty much a run it back situation. Good matchup. Bulls or the Spurs are really bad transition defense. We'll see if the Bulls could kind of speed up their offense a little bit.
All right, Lakers and Timberwolves. The Lakers submitted injury notes right before we hopped on. LeBron James is going to miss tonight's game, second night of a back-to-back. Not super surprising there. Anthony Davis listed as questionable. I'd be a little bit concerned about that. He was kind of banged. He's been banged up the last few games, kind of hobbling around, playing through stuff. This is kind of a schedule loss, second night of back-to-back against Minnesota. I would not be surprised if they take the schedule L here and Anthony Davis does not play tonight. What other notes do you have on the Lakers from an injury report perspective today?
Yeah, their schedule is tough, man. Like they're on this road trip. We saw them have the in-season tournament, really condensed schedule, elevated minutes in those games. And there were some comments about changing the starting lineup from Darvin Ham, and he said that's a big step. And he like, every beat reporter around the team when you're struggling has to ask that question. And it seems pretty unlikely. He chalked it up to injuries and travel and the schedule right now. So, like you said, I could see them just sitting out AD, play through the ankle thing. Darvin had mentioned yesterday that they're going to evaluate him because he was playing through the ankle. We saw him, get dinged up in the third quarter as well. So again, very, very, very possible that AD sits this one out, and they have a lot of depth here. We saw Gabe Vincent return. He was on a 14 to 18 minute cap, runs right at 14. They've got bodies, so I wouldn't. There's a lot of ways this can go. I think that they want to play some size here. So with LeBron out, they're probably going to go to Rui. That's kind of the default move. But I wouldn't be surprised if they get Vanderbilt in the starting lineup. That is just nasty from a creation standpoint. So that would put a really huge role on D'Angelo Russell. I wouldn't be surprised if they start Austin Reeves. That would also be a way to kind of up Gabe Vincent's minutes to kind of make their guards thin out a little bit to cover some of the wing minutes. So I think that's a candidate. So yeah, really.
It looks like Gabe has been ruled out as well.
Oh, Gabe got ruled out. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, my bad. But I think my point still stands though. Like I think they could still start Reese for creation. But yeah. So that's kind of where I'm at.
The way that I think about it for them is just generally like in terms of replacing roles, the guy that they feel most comfortable with replacing LeBron stuff is Rui, and the guy that they feel most comfortable when they're down LeBron and having to replace AD is Christian Wood. But when they have LeBron, they're fine with enough offense through LeBron and one of the guards, either Reeves or Russell, that they don't go to Christian Wood. So just be prepared that tonight, if they are without LeBron and AD, you might see more Christian Wood in the mix than you normally would, just because they don't have a lot of offensive creation just naturally. So be prepared for that. Obviously, very, very difficult matchup. So not one you're super excited about, but one we're probably going to have to talk about later on. Okay. Washington, Portland, last game of the slate to talk through. Another
Minnesota actually filed. They're good.
Oh,
they just filed right now. So
okay, perfect. Washington and Portland, another sicko game environment. On the Washington side, no Johnny Davis, Landry Shamet, or DeLon Wright. We've seen Tyus Jones have elevated minutes when games are competitive in the absence of those guys. Jordan Poole not listed on the injury report, so appears good to go there. This should be a game that should be, fun and competitive from a DFS, from a fantasy perspective. So what are your thoughts on the Washington side of things?
Yeah, definitely. Again, another sicko game, but the Blazers defense has been somewhat okay this year. Their turnover rate's been was actually really high. They were forcing a lot of turnovers to make their defense like respectable, but now it's kind of come back a little bit to earth here. But obviously, this is a game you want to attack. Yeah. Tyus' minutes have been really strong. Poole's minutes have been pretty good. So could be a pretty straightforward situation. They seem pretty comfortable playing Tyus more minutes here. But yeah, he could have even played more. But the Kings, they were up pretty big in this game as Washington made a little bit of a late run. But yeah, kind of normalized from a rotation standpoint.
All right, Portland side, no Shaden Sharp tonight. We saw last game, they really kind of tightened things up, especially at the center spot with DeAndre Ayton approaching 40 minutes. We saw Malcolm Brogdon start the second half in the absence of Shaden Sharp. So what are the expectations here without Shaden Sharp tonight?
Almost certainly going to be Malcolm Brogdon started. We talked about if Shaden Sharp had missed the last game, it was going to be him. We saw Brogdon start the second half, and they shouldn't have even played Shaden. After the game, Chauncey Billups said he's been playing through this groin thing and basically just said chalk it up to a mistake, and they just kind of cut their losses and sat him out. So sounds like they're going to probably miss Sharp for maybe a game or two here, maybe get him to Christmas and then bring him back. So yeah, expecting Malcolm Brogdon to start. Scoot Henderson played a ton, closed as well, and we had an under on him and he was going at it, aggressive shooting early. But then Billups said at halftime, they told him to not handle the ball anymore and to kind of like let the game come to him a little more and play him off ball, which thank goodness. I think he only had like one or two shots in like maybe 15, 16 minutes. So we got really lucky on that one. But and one thing we did not get lucky on was DeAndre Ayton. We had an under on him, and he plays 40 minutes. After the game, Chauncey Billups said that it was a mistake to keep his minutes kind of around 30-ish. So DeAndre, what a matchup, right? I mean, we love centers against the Wizards. I don't think I would have DeAndre Ayton on my list of like top 25, maybe even top like 50 cover boy candidates. He would be a cover boy candidate for me. Yeah. I could see DeAndre Ayton playing maybe upper 30s in the nuttiest of nut matchups. So very in on DeAndre Ayton today. And then, Simons, the role is massive. He's been playing a ton. He's going to benefit here. But even though Brogdon played off ball a lot, like it was Ant still running the show, and the usage will take a little bit of a hit. But certainly Ant's playing a ton and just has a huge pick and roll handling situation right now.
Second, rookie young player in the last week that Chauncey Billups has sort of told to, tone it down from a usage shooting perspective. The next game out after Toumani Camara was kind of told that, I don't think he took a shot.
Yeah.
And so I've never coached at any level, so I don't know if there's a good coaching tactic or a bad coaching tactic, but I will say it's an interesting tactic for the young players. But Toumani shot 20 times that game, had the comments from Billups like, that's not your role. And then I think he took 0 shots in the first half. I think he got up to 6.
Yeah. In 37 minutes.
And the shots have been way down since. I mean, 6, 10, 7, 4, 4. So I'm interested to see how that impacts Scoot, which is, a player that I think you want playing free and aggressive. Just for his own sake. It's competing interest there in terms of like, I'm sure Chauncey wants to win games now, and they've got veteran players who also want to win games now, but the development of Scoot, I think it's an interesting tactic. I'm interested to see if it has any, lasting impacts on Scoot. Toumani's a different player though. Like Toumani can do a lot of things that his value is derived not from shooting. Scoot's value is largely derived from shooting and being aggressive offensively. So I'm interested to see. Just wanted to note that because it's the second time the comment has come up from Billups in the last few weeks. Yep. Okay. That will do it for this edition of Established Run's NBA Injury Report Analysis Show. But we have lots of great details and information for you before we close. So first and foremost, we are running a holiday sale. If you're interested in our premium content, there's no better time to get it than now. 25% off all of our NBA premium products, props package, DFS package. I told the guys not to take it off the props package. They still did. So they didn't listen to me. 25% off on everything that we're running. Now's the best time to get a premium package at Established Run, established.com/subscribe-NBA for more details there. Also, if you're enjoying this free content that we're posting on YouTube, please consider subscribing to this channel to get notifications whenever we go live. And of course, help us reach our goal of getting to 5,000 subscribers by the end of this NBA season. If you subscribe to this channel, you also get new content as we are putting our podcast on video on this channel as well. I believe Ryan is currently editing, and that podcast that we recorded just before this will be up, if not up already, on the YouTube channel. So make sure to poke around the YouTube channel for new content from us. We're going to keep trying to grow this YouTube channel and appreciate your help in doing so. If you are enjoying the content and you want to help get this content out to other people in the world, you can help us by feeding that algorithm and smashing that like button. You feed the algorithm, it helps feed our families and allows us to feed you the NBA injury information analysis you need to set your lineups, DFS, season long, make your spread bets and prop bets, and even host NBA shows on TNT. Shout out to Adam Lefko. So smash that like button, help the other people see it, feed that algorithm. Nom, 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 nom. We'll see you tomorrow.